Hi creative friends, this is Freya and thank you so much for being here. So today I'm going to talk about the magic of collage, but first I just wanted to go over this 100-day project that I posted on my channel. So I did a series of it, and basically in my last video on the main channel, I said I was happy with it and I was done with it, and that was not true. I I was wrong. So what happened is I was obsessing about it and I just was not happy with it. So what I did is I put my ink chalk paint at full strength. So this is the equivalent of a Payne's gray, and as you can see, it's like really strong. It's almost like it's a black, really. So I did manage to time lapse it, so I posted it on my shorts. So if you wanted to just go in there and take a look, now unfortunately, because it's a time lapse, you can't really see a lot of the details. But basically what I did is I went in here and I just covered up the eyes. I splashed it on various parts of the face, and then I added more collage, more this, more that, whatever. I added some writing in the background here. And now I'm going to bring this up closer, and I'm a lot happier with it. And I learned a ton. Now, I do have these still lifes over here, and I made a series on still lifes as well, but I just wanted to point out that there are so many similarities when you are working on a still life and when you're working on portraits. And this has nothing to do with the grays, nothing at all, because I have, still lifes in here where I use my ultramarine blue as the, to put in my shadows and the under painting. But there are so many ways that we can learn going back and forth, back and forth. So what I mean by that is, like, when I work on a still life, all the lessons that I learn over here, I am now going to be able to apply it to portraits, and then vice versa. Because everything I learn over here, I can go and apply it to doing still lifes as well. And I just want to point out that when you isolate parts of this portrait, so just say and this is actually a bit too big of an opening, so I'm gonna try to cover it up even more. And these are my mini collages. So just say I was going to isolate a part of the face, like a lot, like just kind of go in like so. I can compare this part. It's just a color field, so I can compare this part to, this part over here, like absolutely. So can you see how there are so many similarities? Because this is just a color field, but things are easier, well, at least they are for me. They're easier to see on a still life because I can control so many of the factors. Like I can control the lighting. I can set up my still life and I can leave it there for days or weeks at a time. There's so many things you can control with this still life that you can't really control with even painting from life. If you were going to paint a human being, like a human being is not going to be able to hold their position for hours at a time. I've taken still life classes where the teacher will just set up a still life and will leave it there exactly the way it is for the entirety of the class, which could be like weeks or months. Whereas when I've taken classes where you draw a figure from life, the figure, the person who's standing still, they have to take breaks like every, I don't know, 20 or 30 minutes or whatever. Like, they have to take a break. They have to go and walk around because it is really difficult. And then they come back and they try their best to hold that position. But it's, we're human, so they're going to move. Anyways, I'm sorry about that big, long song and dance. But my point is that when you set up a still life and when you see how the, like I was talking about, that everything can be broken down into shapes. So this is a sphere, and when it goes in the, like when it curves around, you know, you're going to learn that, well, the face is also a sphere. So the things that you learn over here, like the push and pull and the color fields, you know, red is not red, it's a million different colors and values and textures, etc. All of those things that you learn in doing still lifes, you are now going to be able to apply them when you're doing portraits, and vice versa, because it's not just that those things apply only to still lifes. They apply to anything that you're going to be painting. So anyways, I'm going to move this aside here, but I just wanted to point that out. And basically what I am doing is I am getting to the collage. I sorted my collage out. I'm not going to use all of this collage, obviously, but I just have, you know, just the different types of collage. So this is my tea bags. This is just bits and bobs of different things that I just kind of put over there. This is my paper towel that I just made in, you know, different colors, and I'm absolutely so in love with the paper towel collage. This is more bits and bobs, my envelope that I'm gonna attach. And this is my Tamil script, which is like gold to me. So I'm gonna put this off to the side because that's gonna be the last thing that's gonna go into my journal. And this is my handmade collage. So basically that's the collage that I am working with. But what I am doing is just like with the color, when I made a video on my color swatches and how I was using color to access different realms of information and to convey emotions, etc., etc. I made a video, and I'll link the video in the description to this video. I'll put that in the description below. But that's what I'm trying to do with collage as well. I'm trying to convey emotions, and working in this journal is allowing me to look at things in new ways. And when I started working in this journal, healing ancestral trauma, so honestly, this is probably not the best journal that you know, that I could use to do this particular, like, working on my ancestral trauma. This is not the greatest journal. I started this journal to explore compositions, and I talked about that before. Like, so it you know, a few pages in, I realized, hey, this is like, there's a lot deeper stuff going on. So, you know, but that being said, when I realized that I was going to be working in this journal to heal my ancestral trauma, and when I, you know, lit a candle and did my intention, and I made another video about that as well, one of the things I said is that whatever happens with me working in this journal, I am going to look at it as it is, it's something that's happening for me, like it's happening for my benefit, and I'm going to use it to look at things in new ways. Like, I'm going to use it to my advantage. So for instance, when I was working in this journal, and like I said, this is not, you know, you wouldn't think this would be the best journal to work in this type of way, because this is a Fabriano journal, and it is not meant for lots of layers and mixed media. It's really not meant for that. So when I was working in this journal, what happened is a page just completely fell out. Like, it did. Not because this journal is not well made. It's a very well made journal, but I put a lot of water, a lot of layers. So a page just fell out. So what I did is I cut up, and you can see over here, like, there was another page here, and this was part of a figure. But what I did is I used the page that remained, and I turned that as, you know, I just made it work for me. But the page that fell out, I cut the figures. So this is a cutout figure, and this is a cutout figure, and this over here is a cutout figure. So what that has allowed me to do is, because I had these cutout figures that were figures that I drew in this journal, I'm now able to use them in different ways. So this is my paper towel collage that I laid down on the page and I hot glued it. And then I put the figure that the page fell out, so I cut it out. And now I superimposed the figure onto the collage, which I wouldn't be able to do that if the page hadn't have fallen out. So I hope I'm explaining things correctly. Like, I hope I'm explaining things in a very simple way. Because, if like this is painted on the page, so obviously I can't like take a piece of collage and put it behind the figure. Like, I can only put stuff on top of the figure. But because the page fell out and I cut this out, I am now able to put the figure on top of the collage, and that has opened up a whole new doorway for me of working, because I'm like, oh, okay, I can put my figure on top of collage as well as the way I normally work, which is I'm just putting collage on top of the figure. So anyways, I'm sorry for that long explanation, you guys. But another thing that I am doing is, so in this particular figure, I did a pencil drawing of an eye, and I very intentionally made it not to scale. So what I mean is that the eye on the right side, like this pencil drawing, is larger than this eye. Like, this doesn't go to scale with the facial features. It's larger. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convey a lot of different things. I'm trying to convey, say, a sense of intuition, a sense of, resolve, clarity, a sense of standing in our truth. Like, I'm trying to convey not only emotions, but just even ideologies and belief systems and ways of being, and archetypes, if you will. I'm trying to convey like a lot of different things with my collage than I have done thus far in my work. And because I put the sun rays coming out of the eye, that kind of reminds me of like a lot of the yoga drawings that I have seen that come from like ancient Indian texts, where they have the first eye in the middle of the forehead right there, and then they'll have the sun rays emanating, which represents consciousness and seeing things in clarity and standing in truth. It represents a whole bunch of things. So I'm just trying to convey things in a lot in ways that are more in accordance with what I am trying to accomplish in this particular journal. And I really loved the way this turned out. Like, I was surprised at that. Like, I love the juxtaposition of the heavy layers of paint and color. And then this, it's just a graphite pencil drawing. There's so much about it that I just love. I love the fact that it's not to scale, because it immediately calls my attention to it. I'm immediately pulled to this eye because it is bigger, etc., etc. So I am learning how to work in different ways. And over here, I absolutely just love this. This is my paper towel, the blue paper towel where the ink spilled. And I just kind of ripped it up, and then, that's to represent the sky. And then I cut out a piece of cardboard and painted it this gorgeous, luscious orange color. And then I just hot glued it onto here, and I made these, these little designs over here. And to me, this symbolizes, it symbolizes a lot, but I made it look like Indian fabric. Like, to me, this looks very much like Indian fabric. Like, just everything from the the crumpliness of the texture to the gold and just everything. It just, when I look at it, it just instantly takes me to Indian fabric. So I'm trying to look at things in different ways with my collage. And I've talked about this before, but like even over here, like this is a sun, but I use 3 different pieces of collage. So I'm trying to look at my collage as a vehicle, just like I did with the color, to convey emotions, ideas, symbols, belief systems. I'm also trying to use it to access pockets of information that I can't access necessarily with language. So that's also similar to the video I made on color, the color swatches that I was doing. So I'm really trying to find different ways that I can not only access all of these things, but then also convey them onto my page. So this also ties into the video I made about the medial woman, because she stands at the edges of both worlds, you know, the known world and the unseen world, and she can bring things back and forth. She can go into the to the realm of dreams, mythology, stories, etc. And she can bring all of those things into the real tangible world of, like, say, my art journal. So that's what I am looking at more and more. So it's really interesting because when I started making my videos on Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes and her work, and I mean, I first read Women Who Run with the Wolves when I was like, I think 18 or 19. It was a first year university class and it was required reading. So it's not like I'm new to her work. But what is new for me is, after working in this journal over here, is I am able to see deeper and deeper layers of her work and to understand things in ways that I couldn't understand even, 4 months ago. So I am putting all these threads together. And now when I'm looking at collage, I'm looking at it from the point of view of, collage is like the bridge. It's a bridge between the two worlds. It's like so collage is like the medial woman. Color is like the medial woman, because I'm using elements, these elements in art to pull back and forth, to access information that I can't necessarily access with language, and to bring it forth into this world, which is my art journal. So yeah, this is a really, me working in this journal has just opened up so many new layers of understanding, of working, and just doors to what is possible. So I'm just so excited and interested. And it's just a playful process. Like, it's not so serious. It's really not. And that's one of the things I'm really understanding, because sometimes I can just get so serious. So, you know, the adage that I have is, I take my work seriously, but I don't take myself seriously. And there's nothing wrong with taking your work seriously. Like, I take my work very seriously, but sometimes I can get so caught up in the, like, oh, la la la, and I myself become very serious. So I think the trick for me is to, like, okay, I take my work seriously, but I want to be in a state of fun and playfulness and curiosity and beginner's mind, and just to see, like, what is possible. And over here, what I did is I layered some collage. So I used my paper towel and the gold, and then I put an Italian ticket stub, and then this is my handmade collage. And just so you know, you guys, all of these pages are works in progress. They are not complete at all by any stretch of the imagination. Even the pages that look like they're complete, like this one, it's not complete. Not at all, because I'm going to go back in and I am going to, like, right now I want to work in it all the time. Like, I'm almost obsessed with working in it, honestly. Oh my goodness. I would have cried if that stuck. I would have seriously cried right here on the camera. I would have just burst into tears. Okay. So I'm so thankful that that came apart. Anyways, yeah, so none of this is done. And I layered my paper towels, and I'm just loving the feel of this journal. I'm loving the testament that it holds, and I'm loving the stories that are unfolding. And I'm just loving the new ways that I'm able to work. So anyway, you guys, I'm rambling on. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.